this situation came to you, this proposition came to you, and you don't have to take that offer. You don't have to go that direction. This may came to try to provoke or promote or prompt you to do this, that, and the other, but you can stay firm in who you are, regardless to what it is. That, hey, I'm gonna continue to live a justifiable life. I'm gonna continue to live a life of authority, under God, and not over God, to that point where, and not making God material items, not saying that he's material. Some people have promoted that God is this, that, and the other. That's because that's what way people think. But I'm talking about the God that give me power, the God that when I pray to, he give me strength and an ability to go on even when you look like you won't eat. He'll put you on F again, and keep you full. He'll make you complete when it seems like you can't be completed. That's what I'm talking about. That's the God that's able to deliver you out of captivity of your own thoughts, and you don't have to have yourself in a stronghold. You can make God your stronghold to say, look, I'm going to hold on to God so strong that I ain't going to let go of nothing. I ain't talking about I'm going to hold on to religion. I'm going to hold on to religiosity or any of that stuff, but I'm going to hold on to God, and I'm going to continue to do what I need to do as a person, individually, and then whatever you do, it'll fall off to those that are collectively connected to you at some point of your life. And so if that be the case, then there's when your true deliverance come. You can't let none of this pretty much overwhelm you to the point that it's overtaking you, where it's dominating you and everything that's across the boards, in your life. You cannot allow that to be dominating you and full of dominion over you. You can't give yourself the part to say, hey, look, I'm going to allow this to be a stronghold of my life. I'm not going to say that this can't be broken. Yes, it can be broken. If you're dealing with something that can't be broken, place that thing before God and say, God, break it. Some of us don't want it to be broken, though. We want to continue to do this like an everyday thing, but and so even though that comes against you, and because you're not sober minded, and you allowed it to enter into you to cause your reactions or your attitude to go a certain direction. And so that's when there is no stability there. There's no stability. There is no true confidence or anything per se when it comes to that. So these are some particulars that people may or may not be dealing with ever since I became. And I'll put that out there for the people. One of the things that God showed me is that, being an activist. I've been an activist for a lot of years for many different causes. Even last year, as I like to refer back to that just occasionally every once in a while, because that was one year I did everything that I wouldn't, that, you couldn't probably did, and it felt good to me because I wanted there to be different. And they told me it could not be done. It had already been did. It was already did for me to accomplish what was in my heart. Not that I was trying to override or overlook anybody else, but I wanted to keep on going because I had a purpose and a destiny to build something that I would now go into doing like C.J.C. Hood News. I wasn't trying to make it like any other particular a sector of people or anything like that, or to make it a competitive thing, but it might be looked at it like that. But see, if I'm in a position to not compete with you, but to help you help yourself, help you reach your particular goal, and at the same time do what I'm doing, then hey, that's where it's at nowadays. And so that's what I'm doing, with the CJC Hood News particular platform. It's not that I'm trying to duplicate what somebody else is doing. I'm trying to just make it clear and find and Danny that, hey, this particular news is for people who really need to come up out of what they in. This is the, against the, the injustices that you go through as a person. I've been through some of those things. I still go through particular issues that people put up on me, but I find a way to exit it by, either letting music just play or resting and letting God really work it out for my good, and not leaning to my own understanding and things and all of that. Even though I can, desire to want to do stuff or say, what, time ticking on this particular way of me doing this, God, you taking too long. How about I go do it this way? You can feel like how the Savior felt, how he say, hey, Father, thou hast forsaken me. Did you forsake me? And this God didn't forsake you. You just ain't communicating and waiting on the answer for him to reply, or waiting for him to utilize somebody else, or you ain't waiting for him to use your enemies. Sometimes we forget that. We forget that if I forgive, then sooner or later when it comes down to that, to the nitty gritty of you really needing help because of where you were. Sometimes it ain't always money that you got to give to help people to get a resource back from people. Sometimes people think, well, you got to give people money to get a harvest back. Not necessarily. That ain't how God works. God also rewards you if you give people information. The conversations that pretty much get laid to the side and is only heard from so many sector of people, but not being broadcast to bring forth a change and deliverance per se. And so that's what has got to happen amongst the believers, of God. If you really believe in God, then you got to allow this other stuff to be pushed to the wayside. And I say that out of love and respect for each and every individual. I mean, really what I did the last year was I was trying to make that happen, that can continue for the next 10 years, because I did that for my children, and most people don't even understand that. They would misunderstand it and be like, what did you do? Well, I became a revolutionist or activist. Now, a revolutionist sound like it's a terror threat, so I don't want to say it like that, but I became an activist for change. I wasn't trying to do something to cause strife or bitterness to prompt people to go to another direction. But I particularly did it because I wanted to say, what, I want my kids to be able to live righteously. I don't want them to be dealing with stuff like this, that, and the other. I want them to have to walk down the street and there's drive-by shootings. I would be a part of that change. And be part of the solution. I don't want to be the opposite where I'm the reason why it's engaged. I want to, be the difference maker to say, yeah, I can solve this. I know what exactly is needed to be taken care of and change this situation. So that's where my heart is at on all of that, on the up and up. So I have that heart to, be with anything that's trying to, any particular movement that's trying to change. I'm going to move it, instead of it particular moving me. Sometimes it needs to push more than you need to push, for it to go forward. And that's what I'm doing. So now it comes to a time where I'm not only moving the movement that I have. It don't move unless I move it. It don't move unless I get on here and do something or say something, and then it gives people an opportunity to refer back to it, and it's never too late for a person to be able to say, oh, at that last minute what they going through, hey, what is it that you're doing? Now I have time to make time to be able to see what it is that you doing. How can I help you achieve that, since you about movement? Sometimes stuff that look like it's movement ain't moving, or else it is moving, but it's moving particularly for the wrong motives. And so the C.J.C. Hood News movement is particularly not for bribery, a person's purpose or destiny, but to help them be more fruitful and enlightened. Nowadays, you can enlighten the next person from what you've been through, and sometimes it can get to that point where, if nobody's hearing nothing, that you got to be cautious that you don't start doing stuff out of radicalism. You know what I'm saying? To the point that it's so radical that prestige. But when it came to somebody else helping somebody else that was going through it, it was nothing but a smoke screen. It was nothing but for fame, because it was somebody that you knew. But if it was somebody you didn't know, you would pass them by and really wasn't going to stand for no truth in the first place. And that's just what it was. And that's the reality of what I feel a person is has the experience in life. They got to experience all this. I mean, why should I have to experience all this? How many people march when I got hit by a car? Nobody marched. But when it happened to them, when they kinfolks got hit by a car, oh, it's a march. It's a hut 1, hut 2, hut 3. But see, when it happened to people you don't know, you don't move. But it happened to everybody around you that you know. Now you moving. Now you like, hey, I know them, so now I'm moving on this. But when it happened, when people went through injustice in their way, you didn't stand at all with them when they went down in their particular situation. But it took it to happen to your own particular people. And now you want to hooray, and make it seem like you want to do something because it happened to your kin folks, but you don't get no promissory notes on that, because it was people that you bypassed that God said you could have go help. Now that it happened to your folk, now you got an issue with it. But what about the people that you bypassed and you laughed at and you talked about and had to suffer from the get-go? Them the people that had to suffer. Didn't nobody stand with them. How about the people that had to sleep under the Vadok? How about the people that did that and the other? You didn't march for them. You weren't marching for them. But when it happened to you and it happened chaotic, now you want to say something. But when you did it, oh, it was no issue. There was no issue about it. It was no protest about it. But when it happened to you, oh yeah, you want to jump up. But when it happened, when the rape happened to somebody else or the killing happened to somebody else, now where is it at? It's particulars that people would jump on, stuff that they feel that they can, get prestige and clout on. But really, they won't stand on real issues. I told people I've been going through the stuff that I've been going through 5 years. It ain't been a protest. It ain't been a march. It ain't been a prayer. And so folks coming off with their world hooly-deely type stuff and Houdini type mess that they perpetrate like they want to go off into some, world trumpet stuff. But the fact of the matter is, dude, look, that's all smoke screen. That happened because of you doing this, that, and the other. If you would have heard and want to help these people right here, then that probably wouldn't have happened the way that it happened. But it only happened because of you avoiding the things that you saying other people go through. And that's the truth of the fact of the matter, why people go through what they go through. On the up and up. That's what people go through nowadays. And people don't want to say what it is. They say, oh, we gonna do this, that, and the other. Oh, but when it happened to somebody around you, you will rally up, hooray, do this, that, and the other. But when somebody else was going through, you wasn't there to do nothing about it. Now you wanna yell and scream and all that mess and junk. Come on, man, it's a smoke screen. It happened because of the people that you did that to. Some people did stuff to other folk. You know what I'm saying? And it took all this to happen to other people before other people raise up. Oh, it happened to this people. Now you go this, that way and the other. Now you want everybody to stand with you, support you. But then when it come back for them to support the next people, they don't do it. It only lasts for so long. It don't continue. It's not a continuation. It's just, oh, it happened to my baby here. Oh, my daughter or my son here. Yeah, that would have struck or somewhere you particularly want to do it yourself. See, I wouldn't have to get you to march hut 1, hut 2, hut 3. For me, if something happened to somebody in my particular line, I'm going to deal with you myself. I don't really particularly